I'm Lee McCarthy. Tonight, police believe they may have a suspect in the cop killing. Why was a hostage set free in Lebanon? An escalation in the New Jersey Senate race. The Guardian Angels return to Philadelphia. And Howard Eskin says help may be on the way for the Eagles' offensive line. Coming up on the 10 o'clock news. Good evening, everyone. Here's what's happening. Within the hour, Philadelphia police reported that they believe they have the man who murdered a Lower Merion police officer last Friday. Officer Edward Setzer was murdered in Gladwin as he was responding to a burglary in progress. The suspect grabbed Setzer's gun and shot him. Police say they have found a man who fits the suspect's description. They also believe they have the car the suspect escaped in. The suspect is reported to be on his way to Lower Merion Township at this hour in custody. We will bring you more on this story as the information becomes available. Funeral services were held today for Edward Setzer, the Marion officer killed in the line of duty last week. Hundreds of police officers from 5 states came to pay their last respects to their fallen colleague. Setzer was killed Friday as he tried to apprehend a burglar in Gladwin. After a struggle, the assailant grabbed Setzer's gun and shot him. The 15-year veteran leaves behind a wife and 3 young children.
I know that my husband was a good man. He loved his family and his job. He truly cared about being the best that he could be, and he was the best. I ask you to tell your special someone that you love him.
As we just reported, police believe they may have the killer in custody tonight. We will have more details as they become available. A State Department team is on its way to interview Mithaleshwar Singh to determine whether he can provide any information on the fate of Americans still held hostage in Lebanon. Singh, an Indian who has applied for American citizenship, was a hostage in Lebanon for 20 months until his release yesterday. Singh told reporters in Damascus that he saw no other hostages in Beirut except the 3 men who were kidnapped with him.
Have they been treating you well? I told earlier the treatment was better than I had expected, but there is no substitute for freedom in this world.
From exile in Paris today, former Iranian President Bani Sadr charged that Singh was released as a result of high-level negotiations and that the point man for the United States was George Bush.
Mr.
Bush was the director of the CIA. As such, he was in contact with the Iranians, and he kept his contact. It's understandable that he should continue this kind of activity and reach a concrete result.
Bani Sadr says Iran wants more hostages freed and wants them out of Lebanon in time to influence the American election.
I think it's an investment in the American election. For Rafsanjani, Khomeini, etc., the defeat of Bush is the death of the Iranian regime. It's a question of life and death.
The White House has rejected Bani Sadr's charges as preposterous, adding that it has no idea why Singh was singled out for freedom. President Reagan said the United States has no intention of negotiating for the release of any of the 9 Americans still being held hostage in Lebanon. In the New Jersey Senate race, Republican challenger Pete Dawkins attacked incumbent Democrat Frank Lautenberg today, going after his finances and his ethics. More on the story from Dan Meacham.
When protest and violence were ripe in South Africa 2 years ago, Senator Lautenberg pushed hard in the Senate to disinvest in American companies with South African holdings. His opponent today charged that Lautenberg failed to practice what he preached.
Someone who stands on the Senate floor and takes a moral position against apartheid while he's taking a cash position for his personal profit with companies doing business in South Africa.
Dawkins claims that Lautenberg did not set up a blind trust until December of 1986, 4 years after the senator pledged to set up such a trust. And Dawkins says that in 1986, Lautenberg had up to $400,000 invested in companies doing business in South Africa.
I think it's wrong to be hypocritical.
General Dawkins is clearly desperate. His campaign is failing. And
Lautenberg would not comment today, but a spokesman says the senator actually personally divested of South African stock and set up a blind trust in December of 1985, just after sponsoring disinvestment legislation.
There's no requirement whatsoever that any senator set up a blind trust at all. In fact, a huge majority of United States senators don't do it. what Senator Lautenberg has done is go above and beyond the call of any ethical rule.
Begala admits, however, that Lautenberg did own significant stock before December of 1985 in companies with holdings in South Africa, companies like IBM.
Senator Lautenberg has no holdings in South Africa whatsoever, and he hasn't for years.
Lawyers on both sides are quibbling over Lautenberg's 1985 trust. Was it a blind trust or not? The answer could determine whether Dawkins' charges hold up. Votes are being counted tonight as Philadelphia's Fraternal Order of Police selects a new president. Thousands of police officers cast their ballots today for a leader to replace Robert Hurst, who's leaving the post after 6 years. The two men trying to succeed Hurst are Rich Costello. He is currently the FOP's recording secretary. And John Shaw, a sergeant in Philadelphia's 6th District. The voting ended at 7 o'clock. If the results are complete before the end of our broadcast, we will, of course, bring them to you. Pennsylvania state troopers today took their ongoing contract dispute with the Casey administration to the Capitol building in Harrisburg. More than 700 troopers took the day off to pressure the administration to agree to a contract that has already been decided upon by an arbitration panel. The administration is challenging salary and benefit increases in the contract, and by law, state troopers are forbidden to strike. Just ahead, rabies reaches epidemic proportions in Pennsylvania, and New Jersey's wine industry is hoping to harvest bigger and bigger profits. A special report when we come back.
Love 15. Love 30. Love 40. Game. Set. Match. Acura, the official car of the Ebel U.S. Pro Indoor. Available at your nearest Acura dealer. It's Captain Midnight!
See, here I am. We all drink our chocolate-flavored Ovaltine every day to help give us what we need for rocket power.
Yeah.
That's the only way, Hank. You know, it won't be long before every home in the country will have one of those. Here's an important Secret Squadron message.
Classic Ovaltine's back in chocolate malt and original malt flavors, and still available in rich chocolate.
I've been raising chickens almost 40 years. I've never seen nothing like Roy Rogers' new Wild Wings. Them birds is crazy. Partying all night and running after my cows. Look what they done to old Duke.
Roy's new Wild Wings. Crispy fried chicken. A choice of 4 wild sauces. Get 6 in the biscuit. Just $1.99.
Next year, I'm planting corn.
I was practicing my hook shot when she walked in.
Looks like we're working together.
Brains, talent, she had everything.
This story's hot.
Including bad breath.
Something wrong?
I moved to the right, the left. There was no escape.
Excuse me.
Somebody like her.
How could I forget Scoop? Bad breath germs, goodbye. Wow, I'll show him.
Oh, no, not again.
Hi.
Her breath.
I figured it out.
Right. For a positive reaction, the power of Scope. Now that we cleared the air, we could finally get down to business.
12 suspected drug dealers are behind bars in Chester after getting caught in an undercover police dragnet. A Chester narcotics detective posing as a corrupt officer accepted thousands in bribes from the suspected dealers. Yesterday, police moved in and rounded them up. Included in the 12 arrests are 2 men considered drug kingpins, 23-year-old William Reed of Wilmington and 22-year-old Darrell Green of Delaware County. If convicted, both men could be sentenced to life in prison without parole. Some Philadelphia neighborhoods will be receiving help in their war against drugs. The Guardian Angels are coming back to town, and as Jill Chernikoff reports, they say they will win back the streets from the drug dealers.
Guns, drugs, and money in the downward sliding neighborhood near 6th and Mountain Streets. A plague out of control. Enter the Guardian Angels with a pledge to jam drug traffic, to take the corners back from the dealers.
We're physical. We use slam and jam techniques. We see them commit the crime, make the deal, we guarantee they're going to do the time. And we also cooperate with the police where they're willing to cooperate with us.
I don't see how they could have our backing if their methods are going to be what they say they're going to be.
Well, that goes against
everything that we have, and I don't think the community should accept it.
Within 2 weeks, the Angels say they will set up headquarters here, invited by Councilman James Tyoon to clean up his district, where residents say police have failed.
Cops come around and they're going, and within minutes, everything's back as usual.
The Angels say their presence here will be different than a few years ago when they patrolled SEPTA. They say the crack epidemic calls for stronger tactics for 24-hour street patrol.
But we'll roll up our shirt sleeves, and for some of the drug dealers, we'll give a little bit of a therapeutic back massage, and that'll give them the message that crime time is no time in this neighborhood.
By their own admission, the Guardian Angels have never proven the ability to be drug busters in Philadelphia. But they say if and when their mission is successful in South Philadelphia, they have every intention of branching out to other drug-infested neighborhoods throughout the city. In Center City, Jill Chernikoff, the 10 o'clock news.
Health Department officials say Pennsylvania has the highest number of animal rabies cases in the country. 45 new cases were reported last month, bringing this year's total to 388 so far. A majority of the cases involve raccoons in Chester County, but the disease is spreading across the state and has appeared in other animals. Owners of domestic animals are being urged to vaccinate their pets, and everyone should avoid all wild animals, no matter how harmless they appear. October happens to be Grape Month in Pennsylvania, prompting state legislators to push a bill that would increase domestic and foreign markets for Pennsylvania wines. The proposed legislation would set up a statewide grape research and development committee to help boost the industry. Winemakers in New Jersey would also like to expand their markets. In Part 2 of Fruit of the Vine, Jacqueline Bolden reports on how winemakers are working with the Department of Agriculture to let people know about New Jersey wines.
As you go in, on the left-hand side, there'll be a young lady there with a glass of our blueberry champagne.
Winemakers realized a long time ago that one of the best ways to get people to buy their wines was to let them come in, see how they're made, and taste them.
Delicious. An old-timer in a business once told me, anybody can make wine. The real trick is keeping it wine and not letting it go on to vinegar.
The real trick in New Jersey, which ranks 10th in the country in wine production, is making people aware of the homegrown label.
I don't think a lot of people realize that there can be a winery in New Jersey.
But New Jersey has a rich history of making quality wines.
Late 1700s, 2 New Jersey vintners were awarded a prize of significant amount of money from the Queen for producing the first bottles of quality wine derived from colonial agriculture.
Winemaking here may be capped with quality, but it has never been one of quantity. State law kept the number of licenses at just 7 until 1981, when legislative changes allowed more vineyards to open. There are now 15, with 3 more applications pending. As those vineyards mature, New Jersey could become a key player in domestic wine production. New Jersey winemakers are becoming increasingly visible at domestic and international wine festivals, even surprising some of their competitors by walking away with top awards. Many New Jersey wines are a lot like their young vines, able to produce, but far from hitting their peak.
The quality has improved significantly in the last 10 years, and I don't see any reason why better winemaking and more sophisticated winemaking techniques can't yield better quality wine in the future.
The future of New Jersey's wine industry is being carefully guided by winemakers and the state's wine council. They want to increase the number of winery licenses, increase producers' retail stores, and improve public awareness.
We'd like to hear people asking for them in their local liquor stores, and that way I think we can help ourselves to create a name for New Jersey, which it deserves.
That's not too bad. That's pretty good.
New Jersey winemakers are finding sweet success from the fruits of their labor, carefully cultivating their vines, nurturing their grapes, coaxing their wines to fruition.
Each year, each grape is always different. You never know what that wine's going to taste like. It's always going to taste good, but some years are going to be just incredible. Oh, look at this one.
I'm Jacqueline Bolden, the 10 o'clock news.
got to do what a man's got to do. Goodbye, old paint.
Uh-oh, better get Mako.
At last, a medical treatment that removes unsightly birthmarks. A motorcycle that's so easy to handle, even your grandmother may buy one. Throw away your pesticides. Here's a plant that'll make bugs run for their lives.
Saturday on TV 29.
Saturday morning, USA. Time to change your oil to this.
Go with the flow. Superflow.
Superflow motor oil from Exxon.
People who know, go Superflow.
Hey, this Superflow is great stuff for blocking wear. Its wear band additive gets deep inside your engine and actually coats the moving parts.
Protects your engine's performance and it shows.
Look, want your engine to last?
Go with the flow. Superflow.
The action never stops on the party line, and it's as close as your phone. Just dial 100-411-700 and 77s. Thousands of others have joined the party. Now it's your turn. New friends are just a phone call away. Dial 100-411-700 and 77s. For just 89 cents a minute, join the party. The party line. 100-411-700 and 77s.
Sometimes looks can be deceiving. If this Serenity Guard looks too small to give you the bladder control protection you need, look again. Compact Serenity regular guards have a unique super absorbent system that protects where you need it most, locks liquid into a gel that can't leak. So if you're looking for better bladder control protection, look for Serenity. It's the protection you need. Compact Serenity Guards from Johnson & Johnson.
Teachers at the Delsey Regional High School in Franklinville walked off the job this morning. After a strike vote, the teachers began carrying picket signs, leaving more than 1,400 students in empty classrooms. Salary is a major issue, but the school's vice principal says the biggest obstacle is the number of class periods teachers are willing to instruct. Negotiations will resume tomorrow night. Marie is here with the weather. If you have not already taken out your wool suits and light top coats, maybe they should, huh, Marie?
And maybe sweaters and sweatshirts. All the way through the weekend, it looks like this cool pattern is going to stay with us. Today, we were 6 to 10 degrees below where we should be for this time of year. And tonight is a very chilly night, but at least the rain has ended for the most part. 58 degrees out at the airport, humidity 71%, barometric pressure is rising. Winds coming out of the northeast at 9. We got up to only 65 degrees today. That was at 12:17 this afternoon, and we kind of fell apart from there. 88 is the record high. Wouldn't that have been nice today? Sunrise is 7:01, sets at 6:38, and we are losing 2 minutes of daylight each day. Our days are getting much shorter. Well, the rest of the country is also going to be below normal. In fact, the midsection and the eastern states are going to be below normal. We are in the blue. That means we are going to be 10 to 20 degrees below normal tomorrow. Southeast also on the cool side, but the western states are going to be above normal, and this is all due to the jet pattern stream. It's 56 right now in Melbourne. It's 63 or 53 in Reading, 52 in Sellersville, 58 at Bear, Delaware, 52 in Gibbsboro. Showers are still going on over western portions of Pennsylvania, and there is a possibility that we could still see a passing shower yet tonight, but the clouds are getting ready to move out of here. A front will be moving through late tonight and tomorrow. This will really cool things off, and this is another reason for the cool weather, along with a high-pressure system over the north-central states. This will move in for the weekend, and it is going to bring us a nice weekend, but tomorrow we'll see partly cloudy skies. And take a look at the north central, the upper Great Lakes states. Yes, that is snow. Tomorrow, or the rest of tonight, partly cloudy, 44 to 49. Tomorrow, sun and clouds, 59 to 63. At the shore, sun and clouds there, only up to 58, 53 in the Poconos for the next 5 days. Tomorrow, a mixture of both sun and clouds, and then sunshine through the weekend, but temperatures remaining anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees below where they should be for this time of year. So this will probably be our first full jacket weekend, and maybe a good time to rake leaves.
It's snow already on your weather map.
Well, not in our neighborhood, yeah.
All right, thank you, Marie. Still ahead, the latest in the Mike Tyson saga. And the Eagles have a new offensive lineman. Or do they? We'll explain that when we come back.
be listened to on the job. That's why I support my union.
Union, yes.
My husband and I both work, and we're raising a family. We belong to unions that understand what we need.
Say union, yes.
Imagine the questions our kids will have when they start to work. The world is changing, and our unions give us a voice in how things change.
America works best when we say union, yes.
How long has it been since a musical lifted you beyond your greatest expectations? Les Miserables is the musical sensation you've been waiting for. The dazzling musical spectacular with an award-winning score that stirs the soul and a story that inspires you to take on the world. On October 22nd, the best musical in years begins performances at the Forest Theater. Call 1-800-233-3123 for Les Miserables. Fight to get a ticket.
Any faucet can turn on water. Cola faucets give it shape. Change the flow. Once you turn on a cola faucet, you'll never want plain water again. See the bold look of cola at this cola showroom.
Tonight's sports segment is brought to you by your local Acura dealers.
Love 15. Love 30. Love 40. Game. Set. Match. Acura, the official car of the Ebel U.S. Pro Indoor. Available at your nearest Acura dealer.
In an update to a story we brought you earlier in this broadcast, Lower Merion Township Police say a man taken into custody tonight by Philadelphia police is not the man who killed Officer Edward Setzer. Police earlier tonight in Philadelphia thought they had found a man who fit the description of the suspect, but Lower Merion police say that he is not the suspect and that their investigation is continuing. And now, Howard Eskin is here with the sports, an award-winning lineman from the Indianapolis Colts, supposed to be on his way to Philadelphia.
Supposed to be. That's the big key. Eagles made a trade today that says the important part of this thing right now, well, there's a couple of things. The Eagles are saying the future is now. There may be some problems, however. The Eagles traded their first-round draft pick, which is their future next year, next season's #1, plus undisclosed draft picks for Indianapolis guard Ron Salt. Now, Salt said tonight he will not report to the Eagles unless he gets a better contract. Ron Salt, a #1 pick of the Colts in 1984, was an All-Pro last season. He had contract problems with Indianapolis, holding out 10 weeks this year before signing last week with the Colts. Now, Salt said tonight, the only reason I did the deal was to stay in Indianapolis, and I'm not going to Philadelphia with the contract I have now. Either they're going to have to make it right and make an offer that I can't resist, or I'm not going. Now, sources told me that Salt wanted a $1 million signing bonus and waived that request just to sign with the Colts. He now wants that same money back. Salt signed for $2.6 million over 5 years. The Eagles had Salt penciled in, this is great, as a starter in Monday's game against the Giants. That's going to go on for a while because the Eagles are not going to pay that kind of money. Now, tonight, Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. Dwight Gooden going for the Mets against Orel Hershiser for the Dodgers. The score right now, in the bottom half of the 7th inning, the Dodgers lead it 1-0. The Dodgers scored the only run of the game in the first inning. Steve Stacks stole second base, and a bloop single by Mike Marshall scored him. Hershiser still throwing zeros. Now, 59 consecutive innings going into tonight's game, 7 more. You count them. The guy's throwing great baseball. American League playoffs begin tomorrow afternoon in Boston. This series is rated even by the odds makers. Now, both teams worked out today at Fenway. The way it looks to me, that Oakland is the better team, more overall pitching. Opening game starting pitcher Dave Stewart has a little different preparation for the game.
Probably from the, I'd say 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whichever time I decide to eat tonight, and I won't eat tomorrow. I'll be getting hungry after the game. Well, I have a problem with nerves. And sometimes in past I've eaten before games and I haven't been able to hold my food down. So to eliminate throwing up on the mound, just don't eat.
What will be the difference in this series? Nobody knows, least of all the manager.
Who knows what the telling factor will be? They have power, we're better hitters. They got a little better speed. These things you know in your heart, but that doesn't mean it'll be that type of series. I think that sometimes when we analyze the game too much, and even though we know what we're talking about, it may not come out that way at all.
Sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. The Yankees' firing of Lou Piniella and hiring of Dallas Green as manager was put on hold today. Baseball Commissioner Peter Ueberroth issued a memo to the teams that they hold any major announcements until after the playoffs and World Series to not detract from the postseason. Now, that was obvious. It was aimed at George Steinbrenner, who named a manager in 2 of the last 3 World Series. Can't knock those Mets off the back page. With that edict out from the commish, Pittsburgh fired general manager Sid Thrift. Thrift got fired because the team's 16-member board voted to fire him because his ego wouldn't let him share the credit for the team's success. The Professional Golfers Tour is coming back to the Philadelphia area. PGA President James Carpenter announced today that the PGA Championship will be played now at Aronimink Country Club in 1993. Heavyweight champion Mike Tyson has seen another doctor. Tyson went to see a psychiatrist today, and the opinion of that doctor is that he is not, I repeat, not, and has never been a manic depressive. The doctor said Tyson showed no signs of abnormality and that the best thing is start fighting again, that's in the ring. Tyson is looking at a December date for fighting Frank Bruno again at Wembley Stadium. Only one change in this week's Channel 29 Daily News High School Football Top 15 poll. It's not at the top, though. Let's take a look. Top team still number 1 with the record 47 in a row. Central Bucks West, followed by Cherokee, Cherry Hill East, Neshaminy, Holy Spirit. Archbishop Ryan, Westchester, Henderson 7, Cardinal O'Hara, Ridley, Pennsauken 10, Holy Cross, Pennsbury 12, Glen Mills 13, Millville 14, and the new team in the top 15 this week, LaSalle enters. They are number 15.
I know a baseball player with the right seniority can refuse a trade, but how about a pro football player? You know, can Solt really get away with refusing a trade?
He just doesn't get paid.
Oh,
so it comes down to either sitting where you are and not getting any money or holding out. Now, he held out 10 weeks already. So the fact is, I could see him holding out some more to try to get some money out of the Eagles because he didn't get a signing bonus.
But you don't believe they'll pay those bucks?
Not $1 million bucks, no.
All right, Howard, thank you. That's our news for this Tuesday. For Howard, Marie, and the entire 10 o'clock news team, thank you for joining us. I'm Lee McCarthy. Good night.
Wake up with KYW News Radio 1060 for the latest news, sports, traffic, and weather.